live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Yes, it is. Welcome to downtown Salt Lake City on this fine Monday, the 25th. I'm Brian Schnee. Thanks for being with us. We are going in depth tonight on a single topic of something that took place down here today. A suspicious item located here in an alleyway in this general area here along 2nd South. These buildings behind me, you can see the U.S. Bank building. It's the most notable, 170 South Main. Some of these local businesses were impacted. They had the evacuation earlier today and then ultimately closed. We'll give you a better look at some of them coming up in a few minutes. However, for details and more information on what took place here today, Lincoln Graves spoke with Salt Lake City Police, also heard from Salt Lake City Fire about their involvement, what took place here today. Lincoln, what happened from early this morning until even mid this afternoon?
Yeah, Brian, let's just lay it all out how this played out today. It started pretty early this morning, just before 8 o'clock, when somebody was passing by an alleyway near where you are. They noticed a suspicious item, and so they noticed a suspicious item, they say, near that alleyway. So they called 911 and called that in, and police came to investigate, and that is when they really started to scale up this response. We saw Salt Lake City Fire show up, we saw the National Guard show up, we saw the FBI show up, people with Gold Cross ambulance services. So a really big response, and a lot of us were wondering, well, why such a big response for a suspicious item? What can you tell us about this item that is really drawing this kind of response? In the beginning stages, we didn't really get that information, but later, when they deemed this item not a threat, that's when they finally told us that this was some sort of an organic agricultural product. They did not specify exactly what that meant, but they also said there was some surveillance video of a person leaving this item there in a suspicious way. So the combination of that surveillance video showing that person leave the item and whatever this product was, that really raised the concerns of emergency officials. That's why they elevated this response. But again, they determined eventually that it was not a threat. And that's when they sort of scaled down, and they were out of here within about 60 minutes, and everything was really back to normal. But again, from 8 a.m. all the way to about 2:30, 3 o'clock, a large section of downtown Salt Lake City shut down for that suspicious item. Brian?
Lincoln, thank you for those, I guess the play-by-play of and the timeline of what took place here today, because it did have traffic impacts and commute impacts for people along the sidewalks, obviously business impacts. We'll get to that in a minute. Do you know what role the National Guard and or the military played in today's operation?
You know, I think when police discovered that they really didn't know exactly what this item was, they brought in all of these key players to sort of analyze together and perhaps understand or decide how they were going to deal with whatever this item was. So bringing in expertise from different agencies, that's what was really behind that decision. Everyone conferring and then deciding, okay, this is what step we should take next. This is the steps we should now take. So it was really more about having that comprehensive knowledge of all of those agencies together to deal with what could have been, or, you know, what perhaps some thought was a pretty scary device, perhaps some sort of an explosive device. They weren't really sure at that point, so they really wanted that expertise from different agencies. Brian?
Lincoln, thank you. So obviously we talked about the agencies involved here, what they determined, and in terms of what that device kind of is, right? They described it with that organic sort of material. They also mentioned that they had surveillance video of the individual placing that down. So they've kind of got an idea of how all of this took place. But what about the businesses? Let's go for a walk here. So we're on 2nd South. Main Street is this way. West Temple is this way. The UPS store that has been so busy today with people pulling on this door handle has this note on the door. It reads, "We are closed today due to the police activity on 2nd South. Apologies for any inconvenience." The UPS store is not alone. I undid the jacket here because we're going to go for a walk, okay? So we're going to make sure Gabe is good with cars. No cars here. Come on over to Siegfried's Deli, right? This is a spot where they're open till 6 o'clock. They're a popular downtown location for people to grab lunch, right? Maybe that pre-dinner snack, maybe even that early dinner. And over here, let's walk all the way to the front door here, Gabe, while we have the opportunity here on 2 News Live to give you this sort of in-depth look at what took place here today, the broad impact of basically city blocks at this point between Main, West Temple, even further down Main Street. So let's take you to the front door here of Siegfried's, which is a popular spot here. People need to get their fix. Unfortunately, as it reads here, we've had to close today due to police shutting down our whole building. We will be open tomorrow for regular hours. Thank you. Just like the UPS store where people are there right now, Gabe, trying to get into the building. Another gentleman over there trying to see how he can drop off that package, and it's just not happening. About to see the same result that so many people have dealt with here over the course of the last few hours, kind of scratching their heads saying, I got to get this out today. Let's come on back over here towards Main Street, Salt Lake City. The building that we told you most about because of the scale is this big one right here. This is the US Bank building. That's the building that Jake Taylor spoke to a couple people at, along with a number of other people here downtown. Jake Taylor joining us live now here on 2 News Live. Jake, what did people tell you about this whole situation today? Whether they were working, whether they were downtown, just trying to make it through the day, but forced to evacuate.
Yeah, well, you told us about the businesses, and certainly with the US Bank building evacuated, all the people that would have done business there, the nearby businesses, they were affected. They certainly weren't fans of the impact, but the workers I spoke to were actually in that building. They seemed mostly unperturbed, not very concerned. Most of them not too worried that they got a little bit of a day off. They said they weren't scared about the bomb, saying it's just another exciting day in Salt Lake City. Those who were evacuated about noon or so, they left the building. Many of them went just to sit on park benches or out to nearby restaurants as they couldn't go much further. Their cars all in the parking garage that was also cordoned off from the area. I spoke with construction workers who had been working on the 15th floor. They had seen for hours the police milling about below them, and eventually when they were evacuated, they say they left. Were somewhat concerned that it had taken 4 hours for them to be asked to leave, but they waited around sitting for things to open back up and for them to be able to go back and work inside, which again took a number of hours till about 2:30 that people were able to get back inside, and this area was to get something close to normal. Right.
Well, Jake, as we could hear in your shot and also behind me on mine, the train is running again. There was a bus bridge in place. Cars are moving again. People are walking again. Did you get the sense from people that you spoke to today, they took this as the real thing? They took this seriously?
I think everyone agreed that the police were taking it seriously. Those I spoke to who had been evacuated from the building, they felt that the police were a calming presence. They felt that the police were going through the steps that they needed to. But also each person I spoke with weren't necessarily taking it so seriously. One even joking, saying, hey, I was up on the 16th floor. Even if the bomb was real, I'd be fine. Now, obviously that was a joke that person said, but that was the kind of attitude I got from a lot of people. They have seen or at least heard in the past other situations of there being bomb scares. Most of the time, they fortunately don't happen to be a real bomb, and so that was kind of the assumption that most people were making. Of course, those evacuated and many people who were just walking nearby came to stand near the police tape, just watching what was happening and, having it as something exciting to do during their lunch break. Right.
Well, Jake, obviously the best possible scenario, right? That nothing turned out to be of grave concern. Police mentioned numerous times in their press briefings today, they wanted to get it right. They wanted to take their time because they had the time. Fortunately, everyone was okay. Thank you, Jake. So as we told you about with this 2 News push alert earlier today, we let you know about the scenario here, roads being closed downtown, the potential impacts. And then fortunately, we've continued to cover this for you. So when those roads are back open, if you'd like to learn more about the situation today, and if police are able to update us on the item They mentioned, obviously, this is all part of the investigation. So if there's anything else out there as it pertains to this, you can find it on our website, of course, KUTV.com. Well, let's talk about it, because I'm wearing a suit outside. I chose not to wear the tie out here because I woke up this morning, temperatures were feeling pretty good, and then I realized it's going to get into the 80s today. And here I am being tossed outside in downtown Salt Lake City, trying not to sweat, Chase. Actually feels pretty good here, and we're on the brink of October.
That's right. It is warm, Brian, but what's great about it being late September is that we still have these longer nights. So we are still cooling things off. We plateau just for an hour or two, that high temperature. It doesn't get too hot out there, and then just give it a few more minutes. That sun's going to be going down, and you might need a light jacket. But with these longer nights, you probably notice it's getting a little patchy up in the mountains. We're seeing some vibrant colors, lots of oranges and reds. This is midway on backside of Guardsman Pass. As you head down towards the Heber Valley, you're going to see a lot of reds and oranges. But we're still waiting on those aspens to turn that golden yellow, and that'll be happening within the next week or two. So you make those outdoor plans to go check those out. In the orange, the mountains of Utah, typically we peak in early October, and in the valleys, our peak fall foliage is in the mid part of October. So we're still a couple weeks out, but it's already quite spectacular in the mountains of northern Utah. Now today, it was warm, 85 degrees, which is well above normal. We're supposed to be in the upper 70s this time of year. We were in the upper 70s, though, towards northeastern Utah, and some 80s in central Utah. St. George hitting 90 degrees. Ridge of high pressure keeping things very calm and warm, and there's a huge storm right now right off the coast of Canada and Washington, and it's pumping up a lot of moisture into the Pacific Northwest. It's actually going to stay to the northwest and away from Utah over the next 24 to 48 hours, so no rain coming our way for the next few days. Might want to think about getting a car wash. It's going to last a while this week. Tonight, we're still cooling off, though. For lows, lots of us will be in the mid to upper 50s tonight. We'll see some 40s, though, from northeastern into central Utah, 60 in St. George. Tomorrow, very similar to today. It's going to be a very sunny day. We'll be in the mid-80s along the Wasatch Front with some 70s towards Park City and southwestern Wyoming. 81 in Vernal tomorrow. Really beautiful day for you. And same thing in Cedar, St. George again, getting very close to 90 degrees. So our next weather maker doesn't arrive until the weekend. There's another storm that's going to be moving in, and it looks like it has some cooler air with it. So here we go again. Unfortunately, falling just in time for the weekend. So that might impact some plans. This is Friday afternoon. Looks dry in Utah. That changes, though, by Saturday as the storm drops into Nevada. This is not going to be widespread rain, but we're going to have some scattered showers and storms Saturday afternoon and evening. And then the main event will likely be on Sunday. Better chance for widespread rain across western and northern Utah. And yes, snow levels could drop as low as 7,500 feet. That could change, but that's how it's looking right now. It's out of here by Monday, but we might have a couple lingering showers near the Idaho border, and we're left with some cool temperatures, some of the coldest air we've had in quite some time. I don't think we're going to hit freezing, though, quite yet in the lower valleys. Now, for the rainfall amounts, right now, it's a little bit up in the air, but looks like 1/10 of an inch to maybe even up to 1/2 inch of rain possible with that storm. Now, St. George, we're going to keep it sunny. Temperatures right around 90 degrees for the rest of the work week, and then by the weekend we'll have some isolated showers and storms. Won't be a washout in St. George, but 79 on Saturday, drops to 69 degrees on Sunday. Salt Lake, we have sunny skies for a while. We'll be in the mid-80s through Wednesday, upper 70s Thursday and Friday. Still at 72, but windy on Saturday with some of those hit-or-miss storms. And then here comes that cooler air and the rain. By Sunday, we are dropping into the upper 50s, but we're in the 50s for one day. We're back into the 60s early next week. Brian?
How's it feel coming back from Mexico?
You know what? It feels good. It was really, really hot in Mexico. I'm not complaining. But I mean, it was toasty. I was there for a wedding, and I was in a suit. And when the heat index is 105, you perspire just a bit.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about the heat index today, but I do have the direct sunlight right here to make sure we're lit, right? So I will tell you, Chase, I was up at Deer Valley this weekend, just enjoying it with the fam. Boy, that breeze felt good for their final weekend of the mountain biking season. The transition to winter should be great. I think people are ready at this point for fall to take full swing. Colors were starting to pop up there too.
Yeah, how were the aspens? I'm curious. Have they started to turn yet, or getting close?
Yeah, they have, especially over towards the Park City Mountain Resort area. You saw some really nice aspen stands and pockets where the aspens were definitely popping. I know you know by getting out on the backside of Guardsman Pass over there by Blood's Lake,
right,
there's so many cool spots there where the aspens really pop. So maybe this weekend they'll start to show their true colors.
Okay, can't wait.
Thomason with your first alert forecast. As always, if you need the forecast, download that 2 News weather app. Very easy to do. You can always find it on the QR code on your screen. And then, of course, take that thing with you. Take it in your pocket. It's on your phone, right? So if you need to know about those changing conditions as the days come about here, maybe looking ahead to that weekend with those storms moving in, the 2 News weather app is the place to get all of that info on the go. And as always, if you missed any of our 2 News live programs, you can find it on our YouTube channel. We are streaming live, YouTube, Facebook, KUTV.com, the 2 News mobile app, also News On and Stir, those apps on your television. But on our YouTube channel, just go to the live section. You can find all of our programs there, not just from today if you missed it, but since the beginning of our inception here on 2 News Live. Thanks for joining us here from downtown Salt Lake City. I'm Brian Schnee. We're back tomorrow with another full edition of 2 News Live. If you missed anything from tonight, check it back on our YouTube channel. Have a great night.